Both from a Valentine. Gravity. Okay, so, now, I do have a history with this band. For anyone who's caught up with me since my Facebook days, or my days having posted videos on Facebook, and trying to do a video under 15 minutes, knew it was going to be impossible when it comes to trying to explain certain things. But when it came to that point, I did the Venom album. And I was really happy, actually, with that one, and I'm pleasantly surprised that that one actually went over really well. Heck, I was hoping it would, because that album was solid and a good return to form that needed to happen. And the thing is, prior to that record, I had only listened to The Poison and Scream and Fire. Scream and Fire did nothing for me, other than maybe the title track and whatever songs they had for singles. Maybe a couple other songs, but honestly, I blank on that record. I mean, for the most part, it's decently produced, I guess, but there was just something about it that was off, that just didn't work compared to The Poison. What I didn't realize is I should have listened to Fever, because that would have been what I would have liked to have heard out of it, more so or less, because I liked what because I personally liked The Poison as an album. So hearing the title Venom and like thinking, oh boy, this might be about as good as maybe them back more closer to form of The Poison, but it was clear that they were going a little more Screaming Fire. But I mean, it took me a few years, but eventually when I went back to listen to it, some of the tracks did grow on me, though I couldn't really vaguely remember which ones to save my own skin from the comment section. But and yeah, it took Fever, and then I eventually, my cousin did try to get me into Temper, or at least, Tears Don't Fall Part 2 specifically, which I didn't mind what I heard. Though, to be fair, that version honestly asks you to have only listened to the video version, which basically cuts off from the awesome outro that you get from the album, which the Tears Don't Fall is off of The Poison. And plus, I wouldn't recommend hearing a radio edit version. I do not care for Tuck's clean vocals that they had him put on for the pre-chorus, which I prefer the screamed vocals. It just works better, regardless of that. And then Temper, I tried to listen to it as a whole again, and I just did not care for it, and in its entirety at all. Heck, in fact, going into this album, I did see reviews, and most of the people are bashing this album. I am probably going to be of the rare few who will say, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, people to the point of saying this is worse than Temper, to that extent, shut up. Shut up! This isn't even close to that. Granted, I will say this. Last album was better, and I would rather you hear the first 3 albums. I would basically put this over Temper. They have not gotten worse than that. You'd think they would be. Granted, there are some things, it's, despite the whole metalcore bashing thing, which, I mean, even though there are some people out there who feel that's justified, but, going the direction that they did feels like kind of hypocritical, but that's neither here nor there. I'm fine with Over It. The follow-up track, which was their third track, Letting You Go, finally hearing the song and properly just within the album itself, yeah, they're trying to get more mainstream appeal, and they're actually trying to experiment a little bit more. And I get that. And I get them trying to, branch out and get other people, get a bigger audience, trying to pull off a attempt at, like, Black Album, which is, in that regard, but they're really kind of trying to do another Bring Me the Horizon thing, in which I'm just going to say it right now. If you want a better metalcore record, or a band, better choice of metalcore, or a band that kind of went the Bring Me Horizon metalcore, spoilers for certain particular albums, you probably can't go wrong with these to some extent. With the Parkway Drive and Ice 'Em In, and if you want something that sounds goes the Bring Me Horizon route, and you're better off with the Under Oath record. Hell, I got a review on that one. Check it out. Hell, I kind of sort of got a review on this one. Check that one out too. It's a double review, by the way. But as far as this is concerned, it's fine. I mean, I could see why some people wouldn't care for it, if for diehards. I mean, I'm not the most diehard. I mean, I didn't care when it came to Scream and Fire at first. In fact, it kind of took me out of the band. So, which is sad because most people praise that album the most. And as a fan of The Poison, I fail to see that. So, which is why I prefer Fever over that. In fact, Venom, I think, is the answer I was actually wanting the most. I think a lot of people wanted Temper to be, but never did give. And sure, the track, Won a Battle, Here's a War, was, at first, was kind of like, uh-oh. But if not for the, here's a war, if not for Matt Tuck's screams of here's a war, and of course the parts we all love on that track come in, and it, the instrumentation does kind of at least bury the parts that are a little, that we get in the beginning of this, through the chorus, that we get at the beginning of this. That track was whatever, but as far as this album is concerned, there's not much for me to talk about, if you haven't noticed already. But yet, not enough for me to outright bash this thing like everyone else here on the internet is. Overrated and Leap of Faith are, like most people will probably tell you, are the highlights of this album. Your first two right off the bat. Letting you, by the point of letting you go, if you didn't care for that track, you're probably not going to care for most of the tracks on here. I mean, I will say Not Dead Yet's fine, but The Very Last Time is probably the most EDM you're going to get off of this. Breathe Underwater's fine for acoustic thing. I will admit, Don't Need You would have probably been better off ending, but then again, if you want a heavier track, then going into an acoustic track that's kind of better than this, I mean, look no further than Of Mice and Men's Defy. But like I said, and for an album like this, Tidal Gravity, of course, I kind of figured from the way this was going with this album cover, I kind of figured that it wasn't going to be super heavy and they were going to try to do something. No, the album cover for Temper is better than, it's heavier, and at least to some extent they didn't lie about that, but and there are moments where they feel like if they go heavy, it seems like they're trying to go on the gent train, or at least the way they're mixing the album makes it seem like they're genty, but it's really just bad mixing, and that is more on Piece of Me. I wanted to like Piece of Me. In fact, most people are pretty well quoting the first lines on that track in of itself. And Tell Me Why I Should Give a Fuck, and reason why I should give a fuck, or at least a lot of people are asking that when it comes to bullet it nowadays, and if this is how you're going to close out the decade, but all I can say is, I mean, at best I can give it a thumbs up, man, but at best. At worst you could say thumbs down, but it's not, I don't even know if I really want to say that, because I'm not hating this album like everyone else is. It's not hitting me in that same way. I see their flaws in this record, for sure, but that's almost any record. But I'm not feeling the hate that this album gets, but I can't necessarily say I'm all in on this album, so there has its moments where it does decide to, where they still kind of maintain some of what they're rooted in, even though they're trying to bash it completely, but for the most part they do try to do some completely different things, as The Very Last Time kind of suggests, and Breathe Underwater suggests, but for the most part, I think a lot of what Leap of Faith and Over It kind of suggest, and even Letting You Go, the first three tracks suggest, is what you're kind of going to get into for the most part. And that's all you really need to know, and that's pretty well overall, like I said. Thumbs down at the worst, I guess. Thumbs up at the best. Somewhere within that range is where the best I can give you. It's really more like this or whatever, but yeah, that's all I can really say on it. I mean, if you're a Bullet fan, I'd rather you just stick with Venom and their first three. But if you're just willing to basically collect them and you still kind of like this, I'm not gonna say no against that, actually, because I didn't hate this. I mean, but if you're just outright hating it, I'm never gonna understand. It's not that I don't kind of understand where you're coming from, especially coming off of an album like Venom, but I don't hate this album like everyone else wants me to, and I'm not going to, and that's just how it's gonna be. But what did you guys think of this album? Leave a comment below, let me know. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. I'll see you in the next video. Probably, hopefully, maybe talk about this one, and then might work on a classic review that's been overdue in over 2 weeks in particular. Well, a few other ones I have overdue, really, but I mean, hell, if you want an old school review, if you want me to talk about a better album from them, I'll do it. From Bullet, let me know, I guess. Leave a comment below, let me know. Whatever, guys. As always, again, keep it random, keep it rocking. I will see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.